Partnered by Times Influence.
It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the 4th Annual Economic Times Supply Chain Management and Logistics Summit 2017. I now have the pleasure of inviting Mr. R.S. Subramanian, Senior Vice President and Country Manager, DHL Express India, for the welcome address. Kindly greet Mr. R.S. Subramanian with a warm round of applause.
This forum has always proved to be a very engaging platform. Some excellent delegates, fantastic speakers, great ideas put on the table and discussed. One day is well spent. It's a good opportunity for the industry to dwell on the issues and discuss the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead, and we have a lot of things to discuss this year. Thanks a lot and all the best.
It is my pleasure now to invite Ms. Malini Shankar, Director General of Shipping, Government of India, to deliver the Guest of Honor address titled Ease of Doing Business, the Importance of Efficient Transport Systems. Kindly put your hands together for Ms. Malini Shankar.
The 21st century has brought in heightened awareness regarding the best practices in the world trade, and we have assumed greater capabilities. Aspirations have grown and infrastructure has improved. Now, we are aware that 90% of the global trade by volume and over 70% by value are carried by ships. Therefore, logistics forms a very key part of the transport, and this includes management of multimodal transport. Now, rationalization of time and cost of transporting goods across nations, states, and transport modes has definitely challenged the industry. Containerization, when combined with multimodal transport capability, optimizes supply chain integration, since it provides for a unified flow of material and handling effectiveness across different transport modes. So the need of the hour, we find, is based on the feedback that we get from the industry and the stakeholders, is an enhanced transparency regarding the services rendered and the service fee charged against each service rendered. So we find that perhaps from the feedback, we find that self-regulation would be an ideal solution vis-a-vis adding another layer, which is the other model suggested, that is a tariff regulator for the multimodal transport. The Ministry of Shipping, in recognition of the challenges and the hardships faced by the industry, has taken a proactive act in setting milestones for improvement in handling time, in consolidation time, detention time across a supply chain, especially when it comes to ports. Our focus will naturally be ports and shipping. With these few words, I would like to thank the organizers for having given me a chance, invited me to share my views and share the information with you. Thank you.
The 4th edition of the Economic Times Supply Chain Management and Logistics Summit 2017 witnessed a panel discussion on the theme of GST, the harbinger of change for SCM and the Indian economy.
The government has come up with the GST Act. Being an important logistics industry player, what kind of advantages do you see in it and its impact? How do you try to harness those benefits?
All of you would be surprised to note that actually the logistics cost in India is as high as anything between 15 to 18%, which is exactly double of what that is in a continent like Europe. And why is it double? It's because of many factors, because there are so many inefficiencies in our system. So this is a very, very positive opportunity for the country to again look at logistics cost in a much more detailed manner. And as a procurement person, and I think there are some procurement persons obviously in this room, we have to have the hat of the entrepreneur now. We have to strip off the logistics cost from all the cost of the goods that we have got. So over a period of time, I see that the entire taxation with a much larger base would eventually bring the taxes down. So the taxes and subsidies getting reconfigured and the entire footprints getting changed is an area where the procurement managers have to reap the maximum benefits.
I would like to introduce Mr. Agarwalji. How do you feel the GTA or GTO, how they are going to retweak their business processes and what challenges they have already foreseen and overcome, and how they are going to reap the benefits of GST under these circumstances.
In fact, we used to learn that more pain, more gain. हमको यहाँ पर ये क्लियर करना है कि व्हाट इज अ पेन. पेन दो तरह के होते हैं, इनिशियल पेन और बिगिन विद पेन. तो यहाँ बिगिन विद पेन नहीं है, यहाँ इनिशियल पेन है जो हमको सहना करना पड़ेगा, और उसके बाद विल हैव द मोर गेन. पूरा हिंदुस्तान अपने अपने एरिया में बटा हुआ है, साइलों में बटा हुआ है, बट जीएसटी विल देयर, देन पूरा हिंदुस्तान एक हो जाएगा. हम कहीं भी ट्रांसशिपमेंट कर सकते हैं. 25 years back, if you say Suklagand in Kanpur, it was the biggest transshipment center of the country. धीरे धीरे ये फोरम बनने के बाद वो खत्म हो चुका एंड कॉस्ट बढ़ गई. अब वो सभी ट्रांसशिपमेंट्स वापस आ रहे हैं. शुक्लागंज, इच्छापुर, यूपी बॉर्डर, मलकापुर, हुसूर, सब ट्रांसशिपमेंट वापस आएंगे क्योंकि जीएसटी के अंदर किसी के बाउंड्री नहीं है, किसी स्टेट का कोई हक नहीं है. एनीवेयर वी कैन ऑपरेट द गुड्स.
Now I request Mr. Devan Saab to discuss about the physical warehousing and whether manufacturing sector will have any kind of shifting of locations, things like that. How do you view it?
The way we are looking at the future is that we are looking at large logistics park which would have temperature controlled as well as ambient warehousing, multi-user with a transportation hub and all other value added services like kitting etc. being served under one roof. That will allow lot of efficiencies to be planned in advance. It will allow scale, which we have all been wanting to but have not been able to, and it will allow us a certain track and trace, which makes it easier for the end consumer all the way. I think the need is, or the time has come and the golden opportunity has come to actually start executing all the brilliant ideas that we have always had.
Now, as we have been discussing more on goods, I would like to chip in Amit ji to discuss about how the intangible aspect of the supply chain, that is how the services in the supply chain and logistics segment is going to be behaving, or what are its concerns and how they are going to benefit from GST. Amit ji, can you please elaborate?
Now, what is happening on the imports and exports? So there are a lot of changes, and I think good changes that are coming about. Simply put, that your import or exporter codes that each of us are used to looking at is going to get now subsumed, if I have to use that word, into the GST-IN, which is the GST registration. What's also happening is that a lot of GST, we have to appreciate the fact that it's not an exemption-based tax, and rightly so, and that's why the country is actually going in a 5-tier tax system, right from 0 all the way to 28, and then probably cesses. But the reason is that they want to recognize what's the amount of input tax credit available for each product or each industry and levy the output tax accordingly, which is probably the right way to do it. We're not going in with a flat rate for just the way all countries in the globe have done. GST also intends to bring about a compliance rating program. It will not probably start from day one, but because the businesses will be given time to get settled down, and in a span of say 8, 10, 12 months, every business will be rated based on their compliance standards.
Yeah.
And it's crucial that all of us as businesses maintain the highest standards possible, because that would entail confidence of the government in every business and trade.
The vision of GST is to create a unified, one harmonious marketplace with hindrances to good flow due to differing varying taxes going away. Yeah. So therefore, it will create a unified market, which is fantastic, and therefore the businesses will be able to make decisions which are not based on tax arbitrage, but based on real cost optimization. So in that sense, GST will help bring together great amount of efficiencies, drive costs down, eventually passing it on to customers in terms of better prices.
So unlike the initial hullabaloo when it was declared that there will be a lot of consolidation, I think we see it definitely panning out vertical wise. So if you talk about a fashion retail sector, there is massive opportunity in terms of consolidation of DCs. But if you talk about technology will be more SLA based, because time to market is important. And if you talk about the consumer sector or manufacturing sector, they have a very clear cut strategy chalked out in which they will keep mega hubs close to their manufacturer and put about 10 to 12 distribution nodes across the country.
Look, supply chain is still made up of people, and the big innovation that we have is getting all of our people engaged in our business and for our customers. How do we do that? What we do is we certify everyone in a common program that gets everyone skilled and engaged in our business and for our customers. It starts with our leadership, we call it certified, and so everyone goes through this program and really understands their role in our business and how they can best serve that customer.
We now move on to the panel discussion.
Supply chain and logistics play a huge role in developing economies of the world. To discuss the opportunities in the FMCG sector and its distribution scenario, a panel discussion was organized on the theme of the evolution of the warehousing sector in India and its future.
As ITC and representation of the FMCG industry, or I would say distribution-led industry in a larger way, what do you see as your expectations and challenges in your growth from the warehousing and logistics service provider sector? What do you see as opportunities? What do you see as challenges? What are the things which have been done well? What has not been done well?
The first challenge what I would like to talk about is minimizing the retail stockout. The second challenge is like on the back end. Now if I have to feed all these distributors, then I need to have quality warehouses. So in today's scenario, most of us know that we are not automated warehouses. We don't have automated warehouses, too many automated warehouses. We have got a semi-mechanized kind of warehouses. At the most, it is a racked warehouses with some kind of an equipment which is deployed. So now, if you have to manage a 20% growth or a 15% growth to that extent year on year, then doing it manually might not be a possible option.
What is your experience? What are you doing in this space to make sure that warehousing quality, skills of people, mechanization, at the same time, what you talked about, kitna deti hai, what is the cost? So how do you balance that equation?
First is, I think a 3PL provider can really provide an end-to-end or a customized solution. Okay, so we have at least 2 or 3 customers with us where we provide an end-to-end supply chain. When I say end-to-end supply chain, that means picking the goods from their manufacturers or their factories or imports, bringing to the mother warehouses, from mother warehouses taking to secondary warehouses, from secondary warehouses dealing to the dealers and distributors. Entire end-to-end supply chain for the one organization is being managed by us. So at least we have got 3 or 4 customers where we are managing end-to-end. Second is, I think Jagdish also spoke about investments. I think we are ready to do investment in any form, both in terms of physical infrastructure also, and secondly in terms of technology also.
Your perspective in terms of from the warehousing and logistics service provider, how are you able to increase speed of movement? How are you able to do quick retrievals? How are you helping the industry in terms of managing with less stocks?
I have heard customers so many times telling me that their problem is not that they can't sell their product at a full MRP value in the market, but the problem is about getting the product to the market at the right time. So what happens is you can do that, and you can do that through efficient design systems in terms of an automation and warehouse management system. So I think as the market matures and customers evolve towards use of technology to ensure less obsolescence, better pick fill, less of pick fill ratios, etc., etc. I think we will get there very soon.
Mr. Mehta, what has been your experience in terms of meeting these needs of customers? What have you done uniquely, differently, which you can share with?
We, as a company, have initiated a lot of warehousing and last mile distribution initiatives where we are going for multi-users facilities where we ask our customers to use and pay basis. It's not that they have to fix their space and try to store and get the rent, pay the rent for us. We are going for multi-user facilities which are on use and pay basis. These are all compliant. So basically, I will just say that we work on 4 C's. Like first is cost, second is the control, and third is the compliances, and fourth is the commitment.
It is my pleasure now to invite on the dais Shri Swatantra Dev Singh, Honorable Minister of Transport, State of Uttar Pradesh, for his address.
आज सप्लाई मैनेजमेंट की एक सबसे बड़ी चुनौती रही है कि इन गांवों तक फैक्ट्रियों द्वारा निर्मित वस्त्रों, वस्तुएं इत्यादि कैसे पहुंचाए जाए और गांव के उत्पाद को कैसे प्रदेश से को सुलभ कराया जाए। इस समस्या को समझते हुए माननीय देश के गौरव अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी ने सड़कों का निर्माण किया। पहली बार हिंदुस्तान के अंदर, जिस देश के अंदर भूखमरी हो, जिसके देश के अंदर कुपोषण से लोग मरते हों, और चीरते हुए सड़क निकाल दिया जाए तो उस गांव की आबादी और गांव के सड़कों के किनारे बसने वाले लोग खुशहाल हो जाते हैं। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी द्वारा प्रारंभ किए हुए पूर्वी फ्रंट कॉरिडोर भी एक बड़ा भाग है जो उत्तर प्रदेश में है, और इसके लिए प्रदेश सरकार भूमि अधिग्रहण का कार्य तेजी से कर रही है। आज वातावरण उत्तर प्रदेश का बदल रहा है, इसलिए रेलवे, वायु मार्ग और जल मार्ग और सड़कें और जल मार्ग का भी काम उत्तर प्रदेश में चालू हो गया। गाजीपुर में ही हब बनने वाला है, जिसके कारण हम समुद्र से जोड़ेंगे। तो यानी सड़क के माध्यम से भी व्यक्तिगत वाहन, अपनी बस यातायात, वायु मार्ग और जल मार्ग के से ये सब हम योजना बनाने वाले हैं उत्तर प्रदेश में। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
It is my pleasure now to invite on the dais Shri Divakar Raute, Honorable Minister of Transport, State of Maharashtra, for his address.
Today's subject is communication, state to state, village to village, and generating whatever we are producing and generating to be transported. MSSRDC means ST will be having the training, biggest training school in this country. We too are going to have our own logistic of ST Mahamandal. Within 6 months, it will be on PPP model. The land will be ours, truck will be ours, the driver will be ours, and logistics, whosoever come forward. So this is what our future vision of this state. We'll be having a good roads in future. We'll be having a good supply chain for the villages, and as well as we will welcome all the transport traffic, logistic traffic in our Maharashtra or otherwise going through Maharashtra on good national way. Dhanyavad. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra, Vande Mataram.
While we have had discussions and deliberations, we also believe in celebrations, and that's why we have gathered here this evening. And the felicitations and acknowledgments will be in two parts. We will have companies that will be felicitated, and we will have advisory board members that will be felicitated. So to present the first 4 felicitations, it is my pleasure to once again request Shri Swatantra Dev Singh, Honorable Minister of Transport, State of Uttar Pradesh, to kindly come up on the dais. I also request Sunita Quadris, Business Head, ET Edge, and Mr. R.S. Subramanian, SVP and Country Manager, DHL, to kindly come up on the dais to accompany the Honorable Minister as we have the first 4 felicitations for the companies, and these are in no particular order. There's no rank. It's just an acknowledgement of the work that they have done in the SCM and logistics space. Can we have Dabur India? The second company that we would like to felicitate is Dr. Reddy's Laboratories. The third company that we would like to felicitate is Glenmark Pharmaceuticals. The fourth company, Hindustan Unilever. I'd now like to thank Shri Swatantra Dev Singh, the Honorable Minister of Transport, State of Uttar Pradesh, for doing the honors. So if you could kindly take your seat, we will have you back on stage soon. It's my pleasure now to invite Shri Divakar Raute, Honorable Minister of Transport, State of Maharashtra, to accompany Sunitha and Mr. Subramanian on the dais to present the felicitation to the next four companies. And the first in the next batch of four is Nestle India. Pepper Fry. Let's have a warm round of applause for Pepper Fry. And the next company that I'd request to call up on the dais, the representative is Shoppers Stop. Thank you so much. And we have Trent Hypermarket. With that, we come to the end of the company felicitation. I would like to thank Mr. R.S. Subramanian for doing the honors. I request the two, Sunitha and Mr. Raute, to kindly stay on the dais. I request Shri Swatantra Dev Singh, the Honorable Minister of Transport, State of Uttar Pradesh, to join Mr. Divakar Raute on the stage. And I also invite Mr. George Lawson, CEO, DHL Global Forwarding India, to join the dignitaries on the dais. This is the felicitation of the advisory board members for their contribution in the field of supply chain management and logistics. Please put your hands together first for Mr. Arif Siddiqui, founder and CEO, Coin Consulting. I'd now like to invite Mr. Atul Kulkarni, Advisor, International Projects, Indian Ports Association, Ministry of Shipping, who will be felicitated by Mr. Divakar Raute. Thank you so much, Mr. Kulkarni. I now have the pleasure of welcoming Mr. Ravi Prakash Mathur, Senior Director, Supply Chain, Head of Logistics, Central Planning and Corporate Sourcing, Dr. Reddy's. And the next gentleman in the advisory board member felicitation that I'd like to invite on the dais is Mr. Manish Saigal, Managing Director, Alvarez and Marcel. And the next gentleman, and that is Mr. Prashant Saran, Director, Supply Chain, India, Amazon. I'd now like to welcome Mr. Rajesh Mehta, Executive Director, Leeladhar Pasu. And now I'd like to call on Mr. Samir Shah, Chairman, Federation of Freight Forwarders Association in India. And finally, Mr. Sandeep Juneja, Vice President, Sales and Marketing, DHL.
Partnered by Times Influence.